Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's tutorial, this tutorial actually marks the beginning of a new series that we're going to begin on my channel. So we're going to go ahead and build a simple, we're going to go ahead on a series and build a simple API using Python. You're going to simply learn about how to deploy to Heroku. You're going to learn about GitHub Actions, and you're going to learn about how to use how to perform CI/CD, like continuous integration and continuous development using FastAPI. So yeah, that's what we're going to be using, and you're going to be using MongoDB for the database, so you don't have to do any complicated SQL setup and all of that complicated stuff. We're going to keep it very simple, and it's going to be a very interesting project. So let me just show you what the project is, what the project can do once you're done building it. So if you're done once building it, you have something just like this right on the screen. Let me show you the different functionality that we have. So users can be able to create posts, delete posts, update posts, and stuff like that, retrieve posts, people can get authenticate themselves and get bearer token, can request for password resets, and then an email will be sent to them, and they'll click on the email, get a token, and then be able to change their passwords. Users will be able to register and all of that. So let me just show you the first step. So we need to go ahead and create a user. So that's the first step. So I'm going to click on try this, and I'm going to click on try. So once I have this, I'm going to provide in my email here. So I'm going to provide in my name, and I'm going to say just Prince, and then I'm going to delete that door part, and then my email, I'm just going to use my email. So here at this is going to be gmail.com, and then my password, I'm just going to use secret instead of secret underscore code. So it's going to be secret right here. So it's going to be my password, right? So my username, my email, and then my password. So I'm going to click on execute, and this is going to go ahead and send the request back to the back end, and I'm simply going to get an email be sent to my my email address. So you can see I get back everything was okay. So we get back a status code of 200. We got back our ID, our name, our email. So an email has been sent to our inbox. So let's go ahead and actually check that out. So once I'm in my inbox, you can see I got the email here: registration successful. Hi Prince, welcome to our community. Your registration has been successful. Enjoy our services. So you can see the registration has went through and everything has been successful right here. So that's that's the email that you get sent after you register. So let's go ahead and see other functionalities of the site. So now once we're registered and we know our password and all that information, let's go ahead and try to authenticate ourselves and basically log in. So I'm just going to click on try, and it's going to I'm going to need to pass in my username, which is going to be Prince, and my password is going to be secret, right? So I'm just going to pass in those two and simply click on execute. So once I click on execute, this is going to go ahead and I'm going to send me a bearer token. So you can see this JWT token, JSON web tokens that you can use on the front end to keep information about the user being authenticated or not authenticated. And this JWT token is also sent with every request that require authentication and all stuff like that. So you can see we have that information right here, and the user is authenticated. So once we have that done, let me just show the other parts. So we can also get the user detail. Now we need to be logged in to get which detail, because if you want to get the user's detail, then you have to know which user's details you want to get. So I need to go ahead and log in. So I'm providing my username as Prince, and then my password as secret, and I can click on authorize. So it's going to go ahead and log me in, and once I'm logged in here, I can just simply go ahead and do a lot of stuff. So I can just go ahead and click on try and execute. So it's going to return to me my information, like my ID, my name, and then the email that I used to register for this website, right, for this application. So I can also go ahead and create email posts and stuff like that. So once I authenticated, let's go ahead and try to get a post. So we're going to limit the post to 4, and you're going to sort them by the date in which they are created. So I'm going to execute this. Right now we don't have any posts, so we get back an empty list. So how do you actually create a post? And we can create a post by here. So let's click on this, try it out, and then you can simply just call this one fast blog title. So I'm going to say fast blog title, and this one here is going to be also fast blog content right here. So once I have that, I can just simply click on execute, and you can get back the status code of 200, and the to do has been the blog post has been created. The body of the blog post, the title, the ID, the author's name, the author's ID, and then the date it was created at. We have all that information being stored. So once we have that done, I can simply go ahead and let me just create another one. So it's going to be called second this is also going to be called second right here. So second, and I'm just going to go ahead and click execute, and you also have that one created. So if I go back here and click on execute this, it's going to return to me all the 2 posts since the limit is 4 and you haven't reached the limit. So I just keep 1, and this is going the limit to be 1. You're just going to get back only 1 post, which is going to be the first one since you're ordering by the date that it was created. Rather, the post is going to be the second one since you're ordering by the date it was created, right? So we have from the latest post to the least latest post. Okay, yeah, so that's basically it. And we can also go ahead, let me grab this post ID here, and you can also use this post ID for other routes. So let me just minimize this too, so I can also go ahead and try to use it here. So I can get a specific post, but which post do I want to get? I need to provide the ID of that post. So I can just execute this, and it's going to return to me the second post only because that's the ID of the second post, right? So you can get a specific post, you can get all the posts, you can create a post, and you can also update a post. So let's try to update our post here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on try out. So make sure that you're authenticated. So once I have that, I'm going to paste this in here, and then I'm going to say this is going to be second post, blog title updated. So let's say updated, and this is going to be okay. I'm going to say second here as well, second, and then I'm going to say here updated. So here and we say updated. So once I have that, I'm going to click on execute, and once I click on execute, I'm going to see the post has been updated. You can see the updated has been added there. So even if I go in here and try to execute this, I'm supposed to see the post has been updated right here. Right, so you can see a second blog title updated, second blog content updated. So it has been updated. And one thing you also know, you cannot delete posts that were created by other people, or you can't even update posts that are created by other people. You can only update posts that you created, and you can only delete posts that you created, right? So I'm just going to paste in this. Since we are the people who created this post, then you're able to delete that post. So I can just go ahead and paste in the post ID, the blog post ID, and then simply click on execute, and it's going to go ahead and return to us a 402, which means content not found, means you have successfully deleted it. So if I go back here and try to execute this, I should get back only 1, which is the first post, right? This first blog post. Yeah, so that's basically it. And also we can go ahead and request for a password reset, and an email will be sent and all that information. So I'm just going to click on try, and I need to provide in here my email that I used to register for this account, and it's going to be the following. So I'm going to say and then this is going to be at gmail.com. So once I have my email in there, I'm simply going to go ahead and click on execute, and it's going to send a request to the backend, and the backend is going to send me an email containing a token that I can use to reset my email. So I get a message back saying that email has been sent with instructions to reset your password. So I'm just going to go into my email and show you my inbox and show you that email. So inside of my inbox, I can see I get the email back, password reset, and then hi Prince, password request granted, password reset, reset password granted. Use the link below to reset your password. If you didn't make this request, kindly ignore this email and nothing will happen. Thanks. Okay, so I'm just going to click this, and this has a token to it that you're going to grab. So you can see this is the link right here. It has a token, and I want to grab that token pass, which is the token that is used to track this user. So I'm going to copy this token, and then I'm simply going to go back in here, and I'm going to use that token to change my password. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, and then open this up, go inside of token, click on try this, go inside of token, and then paste my token inside of there, and then put my new password. And I'm going to call this one updated secret, right? So updated secret, and I'm simply going to go ahead and execute this, and this is going to go ahead and change my password. So my password has been changed, and we got back this information right here. So I'm also storing API key, because you can use API key to provide your users with different access to different services and stuff like that, but you can control basically what you want to return to the front end. So yeah, that's basically it. So once we have that password changed, I have logged out of the other parts. So let me just try to log in again, and let me try to log in. So I'm going to use my old password. So I'm going to put my username, and then I'm going to use my old password, which is secret, and let's see if this is going to work. And this doesn't work, right, because the password is wrong. So we have just said updated, so I'm going to say updated, just like that. So once I've added the updated part, I'm just going to click okay. So I got this wrong, so it's going to be updated secret, just like that. I think it's this one. So once I have that, I'm just going to click on authorize. So I'm getting this wrong, so let me see what I used down here. So I said update secret, not updated, so my bad. So I'm going to go in here and then say update secret. So I'm going to say this, and then this is going to be update secret. So this is going to be update secret, just like that. So once I have that, I can go ahead and click on authorize, and this is going to get me logged in. So once I'm logged in, I can have access to all the facilities, right? So the old password doesn't work and the new password works, and that's how you can reset your password. So that's basically the application that you're going to be building using FastAPI MongoDB, and they're going to do all GitHub actions and all the deploying it to Heroku. So let's get started to it. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is actually set up my global our Python development environment, and we use that environment to test these things out. So okay, so I'm going to go inside of my browser, and this way we have the application currently running. So I'm going to simply going to close this for now. Once I have this closed by hitting Control-C, I'm just going to navigate backwards and onto my desktop, and I'm going to deactivate my environment right now. So once I have that, I'm going to make a directory on my desktop. I'm going to call it blog API, right? So I'm going to have that directory, and I'm going to change that directory. And instead of that directory, that's we're going to go ahead and create a Python virtual environment to keep our project dependencies separate from our global Python environment dependencies. So I'm going to say change directory, and this is going to be blog API. So just auto complete that. So once I'm in there, I'm going to go ahead and create a Python virtual environment, and to do that, I'm simply going to say Python 3 -m VNV and then VNV. So this is going to go ahead and create for me a Python virtual environment, and this command is only going to work for guys who are using Linux and MacBooks. So if you're using Windows, this is not going to work for you, sadly, and I don't have a Windows machine to show you how to do this on Windows. So you can just go ahead and Google the command to create a virtual environment on Windows. It's quite very simple. So once the virtual environment is created, I can do an ls, and you can see we have a folder called VNV, which is the name that we gave to our virtual environment right here. So I'm going to go ahead and activate that virtual environment, and I'm going to do this, and then to activate it. So when the virtual environment is activated, you can see the name of the virtual environment in parentheses in front of the line. That shows that our virtual environment is activated. So once our virtual environment is activated, again, this command is not going to work for guys who are on Windows. So go ahead and Google the command for activating your virtual environment on Windows. But if you're on a MacBook, on a Linux machine, or on a Linux machine, command is going to work for you. So once I have that done, that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go into my here. I'm going to go into Google and then just search for FastAPI, and you bring it to the official documentation of FastAPI. So FastAPI is a very good backend tool, and it's used by different organizations from Microsoft, podcasts, and all the other stuff. Netflix, Uber, all these guys are using this framework. Okay, so once I have this done, I'm just going to go ahead and create a simple project, right? So first of all, we also need to do is just install FastAPI, and this is a command to do that. So I'm just going to copy this command and go inside of my terminal. So instead of my terminal, I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in there. So while we wait for this to get installed, I'm just going to close up my VS Code because I was using it for something else. I'm just going to close it up for now, and wait for this to get installed. So let me also go and see what we need to install. We also need to install the ASGI server, which is going to be a UVCon. So we're going to be using the UVCon to run our backend. So the backend is run based using a server called UVCon, so we need to install that as well. So I'm going to simply copy that, go in here, and then simply paste that command here to install UVCon as well. And yeah, once that is done, we can simply go ahead and see what they said next. So for an example, we can just create a simple example, and we're going to simply create a main.py file, and then instead of the main.py file, we're going to have all this. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, and let's go ahead and see if install is done. So let's just give it a few minutes, and okay, it's already done. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my VS Code. Feel free to use any editor that you're comfortable using. I'm going to just open up my VS Code and use VS Code. So once my VS Code is open up, I can just simply go ahead and going to create a folder in here. I'm going to call this folder, I'm going to call it API. So I'm just going to call this folder a simple API. Or for now, let's just call it main.py file. And in the future videos, I'll show how to set up your actual project dependency. So I actually made a mistake. I'm just going to get rid of this. So once I got rid of that, I'm simply going to go ahead and create a file, and I'm going to call this file simply sorry, not here. I'm going to create it in the root directory. So make sure that it's in your root directory and not inside of your VNV folder. Okay, so I'm going to create in the root directory. I'm going to simply call it main.py, and instead of main.py, I'm just going to paste the code that we copied from the FastAPI official documentation. I'm going to remove this part because I don't need this part for now. So once we have this done, let's go ahead and see how we can run our code. So I'm just going to do an ls, so you can see our main.py file is right there. So I'm going to say uvicon, and then main, and then I'm going to say colon app, and then it's going to be hyphen reload. So the reload flag will help you to reload your code when to reload the app whenever you make changes and stuff like that. It will automatically reload and start the application again instead of it crashing. And this is how we main, and then colon app is the instance of the FastAPI class that we have right here. Is an instance of the FastAPI class. So if you name this a different name, then you have to use the name also here. Okay, so once I have that command, I'm simply going to go ahead and press enter, and this should go ahead and start for us the FastAPI server running on localhost at port 8000. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply copy this right here. I'm going to copy this, so copy it and simply go inside of my browser. Inside of my browser, I'm just going to go ahead and simply I'm going to close this off and simply paste it in here. So I'm just going to paste it in here, and simply press enter. So once I press enter, I can go ahead and see I get hello world back. So this is what we get back after pressing in that link right here. So it just returns to us hello world, and this is what is returned by this function right here, and just returns a simple hello world. So you can see that right here, and you can also go ahead and look at the documentation, the Swagger UI part, because FastAPI gives you a Swagger UI by default. You don't have to do anything to get this Swagger UI, and you get it by default, meaning that you don't have to use things like Postman or any other API testing tools to test it. You can just test it right here in the browser, and this is one of the beauties of FastAPI. So I'm just going to click this on this side here, and this is going to drop down. I can click on try this out and execute, and once I done that, I can see I get the message back of hello and the status code of 200. So yeah, that's everything works as expected, right? So that's basically how you can set up a simple FastAPI API basically. And from what you have saved, what you have done in the back from the back end, you can see we have the post here. So we have the post that we have created, and also we have the user information. If I click on user, you can see the user information as well. So these are stored in the MongoDB database, and you're going to go over how to set up MongoDB, how to register a user, and you're going to do all that in the next tutorial. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it so far, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and share this content with anyone who you think might find this helpful. And yeah, so that you guys can stay updated, or maybe sure you hit the notification bell as well, so that whenever I upload new future videos in this series, you guys will be the first one to get notified. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one, and keep safe.